Right, so good evening.
I'll show you left my...
Oh, did you?
I
Recycling.
thought as soon as I left it, I thought, oh, that's really terrible. You'll probably think I've used it, but it was clean.
If it was green, I'd be thinking something different. So, how do we trace it? The trace down that we use is the graphite version, but it comes in 5 colours. You will have to pass this around. We've got yellow or white. If I start that way and that way, and then pass it back, it shouldn't take you very long to sketch them out.
Is there
And
a
then,
side...
yeah, that's all right.
Somebody's done it already.
Yeah, he's done it.
Yeah, yeah.
Upside down.
So do I put it just
Yeah, yeah.
Put it like that?
Yeah, it's exactly the same as the other.
Like that?
Then that on top,
Yeah.
then pencil.
Barry, just out of curiosity,
Yes,
do you find them the right size or you make them the right size?
I make them the right size.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Because every time it's so perfect and I was like,
Yeah,
must be here.
I do actually try to make it as easy for you as possible.
Yes.
There's only 2.
Here, in between.
Underneath, put it between.
So you
And then just draw. So you just draw on here then. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like carbon paper, but coloured. Yeah, yeah. I've only got 2, unfortunately, because we don't do many things with a dark background. I've pre-painted everybody's canvas for them
So I see.
because of the heat and it's a big area. I thought, you know what, I'll be nice. Except mine has gone patchy, and it would do, wouldn't it? But it was drying so fast. Right, I'll squeeze some paint out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can just do the basic details. Your pencil will show up on it, just about.
We can add more detail with the
Yeah.
pencil.
Absolutely. Well, you may just want to wing it. Wing it.
Already on the jokes.
I can.
I didn't plan that one. That's just natural.
You haven't been waiting all afternoon to
No,
get that off your chest.
no. We'll be fighting against drying tonight.
Is this supposed to be wet then?
No, no, you're all right. I did it about an hour and a half ago. So if it was wet, I'd be amazed. Black. Because I thought I'd pre-paint it because at least that way we've got you can do the ivy. Now you might not want to draw the ivy. It's up to you because you can add it at any point, can't you? With paint afterwards. Cerulean. We did a yellow house with a field of dandelions today.
Is it that one there?
Yeah. The house is in. Actually, we had a student visiting from Canada. She's here for a few weeks, and
Was that that lady?
yeah, Diana.
Oh yeah.
And unbeknownst to me, because she thought she was coming to the blue tick club, but she got them confused. The yellow house is actually from her hometown
Oh wow.
in Nova Scotia.
Oh, she's from Nova Scotia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Halifax.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I know it. Yeah.
But what I mean, that was totally
Gosh, yeah.
unplanned.
Does she do your stuff online then?
No, she's over here to look after her grandchildren, and while she was here, she wanted to be smart, so she found us out.
Oh right.
She lives just like within walking distance of the town, or she's staying, and she's going back in 2 weeks.
Oh.
So it's been really nice. Oh, I've got a little one. Trying to use up all the odd ends because you end up with loads. Because I'm terror, I just when it looks a bit low, I'll panic and then I'll go run downstairs and I'll get another packet. I wish I got loads in. See, I will need a new packet now because that's 3 dead bits gone. I've been lemon yellow.
Who did that big painting at the top, Harry? Like the top, that one, the colourful one.
Me when I was 5.
Oh wow.
No, 6. Well, 5. Yeah, 90. I can't remember when it was. But I did it at school. In my first year of primary, and the theme was a new beginning, and the teacher loved it. That she had left that year, but had it professionally framed and stuff, and donated it to the school as a leaving gift. And it hung outside the headmaster's office until I was 19, and I went and collected it. I actually ended up working in that school for a while, so it was quite fun. I'm trying to give you all the better ones, and then I've got the manky ones. Now, I'm going to leave that there so you can't get your elbow in it. I'm going to chop my end off. Oh, I didn't need to do that because I've got space today. I think it still rubs out. So the coloured ones are really good. You know, like lino comes grey. You can get grey lino to cut on, or even cut cream lino. What do? They do graphite, which is the grey which we use a lot in class. They do white and yellow, red and blue. So if you're working on ceramics, you can trace onto it. So they're really, really useful.
Yeah, now we actually when she says ceramics, I will follow a lady who does ceramic
Oh yeah.
on Instagram. The things she does, it's like she makes people.
Mm. I'll nip down and see if I've got another one. Otherwise it's going to be forever.
You're still waiting for the harbour paper, aren't you?
There you go. If you can get it, it's blown about.
Which side down is it?
Oh,
The side.
That
where-
side down.
yeah, that'd be right. Yeah.
Oh, you've already drawn it, so I can just
Oh
go.
no.
I can just check this kit, can't I?
Well, I drew on top of that. I don't know how that's ended up on there.
Now I don't know whether to do that.
Perhaps spin it around. I don't know. Try it. It might. I don't know.
Because it's supposed to go on top, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which might
That's
give it
exactly
double
what I did.
wings. Yeah, double. Did it do the same on that one as well?
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
because you don't want to trace on top because the paint is
Yeah,
already
I
gone.
mean that looks quite good. I think you did a
No,
good
but the
job.
paint is already gone, so it won't trace on you.
Hey, Barry, as this is,
Yeah.
he's just done it. Can't I just go around this? Or have I got to
You could
put it
do.
on top?
No, you could
Because
do.
it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, I might have got some with you, but
Yeah, but if I you haven't seen the way I paint. You know, I've done it for a long time, so years. Thanks for doing it for me.
is it without me?
Yeah.
Oh, good, yeah.
I don't know how it works. It's clever.
Yeah. I've never seen that before. I've only ever seen carbon painting.
What's this made of?
No idea. The grey one I think is sort of graphite. So whether the coloured ones are coloured graphite, I don't know, but it does stick to anything. My poor old brother's in hospital.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Serious? Or?
yeah.
Oh.
He was cycling his way to work yesterday, lives in Telford, and a car mounted the pavement, crossed a verge and across the cycling path, and threw him up. He landed on the car on his left side. He's got a fractured skull, broken nose, fractured humerus, fractured collarbone, and broken pelvis in 2 places.
Bloody hell, that's bad.
But he's all right. My nephew's just sent me a photo and said I told Dad to smile, and he's pretending to be dead. He's like in hospital, but never mind. So he was in Telford Hospital, but he's now been moved to Stoke-on-Trent.
Okay, did they know who did it?
Yeah, the police were involved. I mean, he's done a good job to the car, because I mean he's like 6'2" and 22 stone, my brother.
Yeah.
So he's landed on it, and it's literally a shape of a man on the windscreen and the bonnet, and the police were there within minutes.
So the insurance will cover all costs.
I would imagine so,
'Cause
absolutely.
That's what I do for a job.
Oh, is it?
Well, I don't do it personally. I do communications. And stuff.
Oh, right, okay.
The company I work for works for people that have been hit by uninsured and untraced drivers,
Ah,
and we cover all the costs of people like your brother, where there's nobody to claim against.
yeah, I think,
Let me know.
I will.
If he's got problems claiming and stuff.
I
like
will.
That, he might, well, Motor Insurance Bureau is.
that's what he did to the car.
yeah.
That's his bike. I mean, the back wheel just, it's gone as though it's actually, she's had to cross. Oh, it's all of that. So she must have been going at speed
Yeah.
to do that much damage to him. That's the car. That's his bike. But yeah, I mean, he's in an awful way. But he's in good spirits. But he's a bit of a showman, my brother. If he's got an audience, he'll play to it, but that's... No, I'm not like that. I don't know what you mean. I'd be moaning. I wouldn't put on a show if I was in pain, trust me. Why do you think my ex-wife left me? I'm rubbish. I'm a massive baby. Well, I think so, or he's highly medicated.
I was gonna say, it's all right. He's got broken pelvis.
Yeah, but I don't think I think they are going to operate on the pelvis and on what was the latest update?
Oh, bless him.
Oh yeah, they're operating on the pelvis in his arm, but I don't know. But I don't know why he's gone to Stoke. I don't know if that's more specialist for what his fractures and breaks are. I don't know. But the visiting's only 1 till 5. And it's 3 hours from here. So I said I really don't know if I'll be able to go, because I mean it's 6 hours there and back plus the plus the visiting time. I'll need a whole day, and I'm not sure I'm up to driving 6 hours in one day. You know.
Not only that, but well, I mean, you've got FaceTime when I was in
Yeah.
COVID.
Well, it's the
Face
funny
off.
thing is, he hasn't spoken to me for a year. He fell out with me.
So did he?
He likes holding a grudge. But maybe he won't now. So I would have liked to have seen him. But it is a hell of a long way. If it was in Telford, I could have probably done it because it's only about an hour and a half from here. But I really don't think I could do all of that journey because it's motorway all the way there. Then I'll be there for an hour and then all the way back. And the visit, because having it 1 till 5 is really quite hard for me because it's.
Business hours.
Well, it is. It's business hours, and because I said to my nephew, I said the trouble is, it's not a nuisance to get there. I would get there, but the classes are booked so far in advance, and it is my only main source of income, and I don't know if I could do it. So I'll see.
Well, FaceTime's any time, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I don't know how his arms don't look very useful at the minute, but
Maybe if someone else is there.
yeah. So yeah, we found that out at like 3 o'clock yesterday. It's not made the local news where he is yet, which is surprising. But I'm wondering if he was wearing a helmet to have had that head injury. But he must have been hit at some force to make that much.
Or was he just crossing the road?
No, he was cycling on a cycle lane
Yeah.
that is separate to a road.
So she shouldn't have been on the cycle.
No, she had to cross the grass verge.
Yeah, it's on the path. There's like path.
Yeah, you've got, it's like a
verge and
footpath, cycle path, grass verge road. So she careered off the road. No idea how or why or what, but we know it was a she, and she must have. Well, she couldn't have driven that car anywhere after he'd landed on it. Oh, hang on, that's my sister. Excuse me. Hello. Hello. Julie, medical advice. My sister wants to go and visit my brother tomorrow,
Yeah.
but she's got a really bad cold. If she wore a mask, could she, or what do you think?
I mean, he's quite critical, isn't he?
Mm. And he's
He's
got
not gonna
operation
want-
due.
He's not going to want any kind of contact. That would be my
Because
first.
would it set back his operation?
Yeah, well, it would just put him more at risk. Whatever, because he's got stuff going on up here anyway, hasn't
Yes.
he, with the sort of fractured skull and everything. So, that might, imagine if you've got a really heavy cold on top of all of that, it would be
Yeah.
very, very, very distressing.
Okay.
At best, it would be annoying. At
Yeah.
worst, it could be
Right. Okay.
worse than that. But by all means, ask the hospital. But
Yeah,
that would be
okay.
yeah. It's difficult though, isn't it? Because he's really, really serious as well. You want to have seen him, but
Yeah.
you can speak to the
Yeah.
hospital.
Well,
Yeah, and it's the FaceTime thing, isn't it? Really.
yeah. I mean, it's got the same when I was in hospital. COVID.
Yeah.
Did you nurse them?
Yeah.
Where do you nurse?
I work with dementia patients
Oh, do you?
now. Yeah.
That's hard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I do really enjoy it. Actually, it's really
It's very rewarding.
Yeah, it's a sort of job that you kind of do. It's really good if you do it towards when you've got lots of experience. Take everything there. Really wanted to go to when I first qualified, so not to go to the synthesis, but yeah.
Oh well.
That's,
It must be
yeah.
nice.
So assuming you suffered a lot when you had all the COVID people come in.
Yeah, and you know what? My dad died of Alzheimer's just before COVID, and I just thought, it's just so
I mean, when I had it, I got to hospital and I knew from that point I was going to get better, but while I was there, I honestly couldn't care if I lived or died. Yeah. So I went to Portland and they couldn't give me enough oxygen. So they then blue lighted me to jail. As I say, I didn't care whether I lived or died. I thought I would get better. I was relieved to be there, but it just didn't matter to me whether I did or not.
I know there's probably a need to see him, Barry, isn't there, as well? That's
Well,
the thing.
this is it. She's saying, my heart's saying I want to see him. But,
Just speak to them. They will tell them. They will advise them.
Yeah, she's got a ring tomorrow, but she was going to visit me on Sunday, and she said, well, if I'm feeling better by Sunday, can I go and see him instead of you? And I went, well, one of us has got to see him.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, he's got 3 kids who are going in and out, but I said, the way you're coughing, if he gets the cough rather than the cold, it's not going to hurt. It's going to hurt him with all these breaks. And
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
because he had a head injury at Christmas, he got drunk and fell over and knocked himself out on his way home. So he's gone through the wars, bless him. But she sounds really throaty and coughy.
But also they will say whether, it's really serious. Do you know what I mean?
Well, he's due to have an operation at some point this week, and I said, well, ring them tomorrow anyway, and then either don't go and go Sunday, you know, because I said I really don't think I can do it in a day anymore. And I can't afford 2 days off to stay over at a B&B and then come back. So I said one of us does need to visit him.
They may well stay with a mask and just keep a distance. They
Yeah.
may well go with that.
Yeah. So she feels. I said it's quite stroke of luck. I've got a medical person in my class this evening that I can ask. But it's just knowing, isn't it? I think she wants to go, but also doesn't want to put him at risk, so she's not sure. But she will ring the hospital to make sure. Right then, let's get. Oh, what do we do first? I think we ought to do the bird first. Oh, you've got him Sydney. What a lovely name.
Yeah, but no, I call it Sydney Shite.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's fair enough. I'm actually going to do with a small round brush, just a little bit of white on his white bits. Yeah, the small, not your long thin one, but your small one. You'll have a purple handled one. Roundish or anything with a bit of a point will be good. Yeah, that's the one. We'll just block in. I'll try and go in the direction of. I probably will have to do something more to that background. No, it'll be fine. Don't give him ideas, Janice. Janice has been coming for quite a while now, so she knows all the tricks. Well, pandemic was in the way, wasn't it?
Have you posted some stuff on the Facebook?
Have you ever posted on Facebook, Janice, in the group? No. I don't think so.
Because there is, I think there's a Janet called.
There's a Janet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is a Janice.
Oh, okay.
We have quite a few similar names. Anne is one. We have a lot of Anns.
Oh yeah, what's you know the doctor and his wife, ex-wife.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
What's their names?
Anne and Chris.
Anne and Chris, that's it.
Yeah, they still come most Fridays when they're not on their holidays. I've got 2 days off in July where I'm going to Wales.
Just on a jolly, nothing.
No, yeah, it is a jolly because it's all 3 of us, my siblings, we go to my mum's favourite beach on the anniversary of her death. We did used to go up on for the day on the Sunday, but I've started stopping at a B&B on the Friday night and having a Saturday off. Because I don't have a holiday, it is my only holiday. But I doubt my brother will be joining us, because even if he's well enough, will I really want to push him? I am an ex-carer, so I could shove him around in a wheelchair, because he's the same. Yeah. I actually, when my dad was ill, not long before he died, we had a wheelchair for him in Barmouth, and I was only like 17 at the time, and I was rubbish at pushing him, because my dad was quite heavy. And it got to the point where my dad was so annoyed at how I pushed him in the wheelchair, he got out the chair and started pushing it himself. So yeah, he did that a lot to me. He did that when he was teaching me how to drive. He made me get out and walk.
A lot of patience there.
Well, I don't see how you learn to drive if you walk then.
No, well, I had to have lessons with somebody else because he refused to teach me.
I also have to have lessons with other people. Probably parents are not good teachers when you learn to drive.
No, my dad and I have similar lack of patience. So so I didn't, and I also didn't want to learn to drive. He was ill, and I only learned because I wanted to take the pressure off my sister, who was driving him to hospital all the time. And I thought I'd be nice.
That's the problem with living in town. Neither of my grown-up children drive because they don't need to.
No,
I mean, it's great really because they're using everything that's available to them, public transport-wise. But
no, my brother can't drive. He's never really wanted to.
I don't. One of my daughters does in the other place, and it's got no interest at all.
yeah.
Yeah.
And if it's if anybody forcing it, isn't it? It's got to come from.
Oh no, exactly. My youngest daughter, she drives everywhere.
Yeah. I think my daughter's going to do it soon. Actually, I think she would be quite a natural, but she just.
I mean, I'm really glad that I learned to drive. I was like 19. I failed the first time, and I worked out how much I'd spent on lessons because I had 2 hours a week for 2 years. Failed, and then I thought, you know what, I'm gonna have to. And then my dad passed away, but I thought I'm gonna have to do it. Right, I'm gonna do just his eye in just the bead of his eye, black for now.
Same paintbrush.
Yeah. Whatever paintbrush works best for you to get a decent point. It might be a rigger, it might not be. It might be a thin brush. It really is up to you. So I've just done just a black circle. Because he's got that black, well, it's not quite black, is it, around his eye, those feathers. They're darker than his beak that's grey. Pale grey. He's got a little dark grey line under his chin, and then around his eyes is a darkish grey, and then his beard, no, his beak. No, because that's going to be in a blackish grey colour, so black with a little bit of white.
What all those bits you're doing now?
Yeah.
After the eye.
Yeah, do your eye the darkest, and then
We'll mix with a bit of white.
a tiny bit of white. Because for the beak, you just add more white, so I thought we'd do it. And his legs, actually. His legs and his beak we'll do in the same colour. See, the good thing about this week is that you've traced it, which means you've got those awkward legs in the right place.
Yeah.
Because we had problems with those legs last week, didn't we? Well, it was more by luck than judgment that he actually was able to get on a tap. Poor little thing. There's the light grey for his beak and the dark grey is for around his eye.
I've got a very wet eye that's leaked.
Oh, he's got a leak. Is he crying?
Yeah, well, he's all.
You John with just jet black in the eye itself.
Yeah, jet black in the eye and then playing around with tones. You might find you need just a bit of water on your brush rather than a lot. I could have probably said that to you earlier, Julie.
I tried to go for a bit, but you know, it's deceiving, isn't it?
It is, and we found that with. I find that even though I work in gouache all the time, that a tiny bit of water can make something so fluid.
Yeah.
So what colour did you do with the background?
A mixture of Payne's grey, lemon yellow, and burnt sienna. But I thought because it was getting really hot, and I know some of you, well, for all of you, you're fairly new to acrylics, and I thought it's going to be a right challenge and a pain to try and get a full coverage without it starting to dry. So
Oh, you've done that whole pan grey.
yeah, I mean it's kind of blue as well around his eye, but it's like it's a really funny blue, that, because the top of his head's more cerulean, but the band around his neck is not quite ultramarine, but maybe it's cerulean and ultramarine, I don't know. So I'm going to just have a quick play to see if I can get the right colour for the top of his head.
So within your white bits, have you added little bits of blue?
No, it's just how it looks on the screen.
Oh, so it's just
I've just used white on the white bits.
a blue bit.
So that could work. If I added now a bit, that's cerulean blue and white. The cerulean blue on its own, I think, is a bit. Oh, I don't know. That could work. It's a definite blue tick colour. But the round his neck is definitely a bit of cerulean with a bit of white. The paler, the one next to the black. The blue.
Oh, sorry.
The blue.
I've done it without white now.
No, that's alright. You can add a bit of white on top. Yeah, and then if I add a bit of ultramarine to it, that's kind of good for the neck. And I suppose the wing. Yeah, there's bits of white on there, isn't there? And pale blue. We've lost 2 aunts this year as well. 2 aunts on both, one on each side of the family, and had a wedding. It's it's a crazy time for our family at the minute. That's the dark grey. I mean, I don't know if it is. I've done it like dark because I think it is in real life, but it does. It's hard to distinguish with some of them with whether it's blue or black, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I'll do his wings and tail in the mix of the two blues.
Oh, you did used to.
Well, for the top, yeah, well, no, for the top of his head is one blue with a bit of white, but for the darker band around his neck and his wing, I think it's better with the two blues. But then there's a hint of green on some of it, so I think we'll probably have to layer him up. But if we can block in the colour, it should be a bit easier to work with within the...
Mixing cerulean and ultramarine.
Yeah, it's probably more cerulean than ultramarine if I'm honest. Because 2 hours isn't very long and this is potentially fiddly, so we'll be doing just a lot of blocking in today and not a lot of detail.
A bit of a wild brush, you know.
What have you?
Just,
Which one have you got? Which one are you using?
it's alright, I'll paint it.
I was on BBC Radio Oxford this morning.
Really?
Yeah. They wanted to chat to me with my Old Town Association chairs head on about the difficulties that small businesses are facing at the moment. How hard it is, and with the rising businesses closing down and all of that malarkey. I'm quite a big wig, you know, Matt.
Wow.
Yeah, BBC phoned me up on Friday. I was on the Money Matters, the Money Matters show a couple of months ago at 6 o'clock in the morning, talking about. Oh, it was when it was Black Friday, and why I wouldn't do it.
Oh yeah, you said that before. Expect that.
It's quite fun that they approached me. Don't you know? Now I thought I'd cleaned my brush, but it's got a bit of blue in it, and I've just gone into some yellow to see, and actually that's going to be the perfect colour for his black back, because the darker colour, yellow is very transparent.
You've got a little bit of grey separating that bottom wing.
There.
Yeah.
No, that's the green. The back. That's just the background. It'll change colour, that background. That's why I kind of used so many different tones in it,
Yeah.
because it'll pick up a little bit of white in there. It'll pick up certain colours, I think, and it'll work really, really well. He's a cute little thing.
He looks like he's flown into something.
You're going to put a plaster on him?
You've got patch, I could do an iPad.
In fact, he's got green bits all over his bum as well, hasn't he? Greeny, it's a greeny yellow, and then he's got... Because that yellow is only yellow in a few places. It is a bit mucky, isn't it? It's Jackie's birthday today, so we all had to be nice to her. Not that I'm not nice to her, but... We got her some cake and some flowers. So areas that you want to stay yellow or to be yellow, you need to mix a bit of white with the yellow to make it opaque.
So how have you done that yellowy then? Just with yellow and...
Yellow, I did add a little bit of the winged blue in there, but not a lot.
Yeah.
So it's yellow and...
Yellow and white is for the yellow, and the greeny stuff is the yellow with whatever blue you've got for the wing.
So you've got yellow and white for the chest, is it?
Yellow and white for the chest, and I'm adding less white.
What did you add for the green at the top?
The wing colour, so whatever colour you, the two blues, because cerulean blue might be just a bit too vibrant on its own, maybe. I'm trying to use the brush stroke in the direction of the feathers. My brush has split a bit as well today, Matt, so I feel it, but actually I'm going to use that to my advantage because it can help me make feathers.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. Have you been busy, Krista, at work?
Yes, very much so.
Lots of people wanting wine for the
Yeah.
summer.
Doesn't help my colleague's just been signed off for 2 weeks. I'm on my own for
Oh no.
2 weeks.
See, if it was me involved in that accident, I don't know how I'd cope being off work for that amount of time, because I haven't got any insurance for it or anything. I mean, my brother works in a factory, so, you know, he'll get sick pay and stuff, won't he? I'd have to have a GoFundMe, wouldn't I?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've often said that I got very lucky getting my job when I did, because if I'd had COVID as a self-employed,
Yeah, how would you do it?
it was the lockdown. It would have absolutely crucified me financially.
See, I was alright in lockdown, because we were doing really, really well.
Yeah.
It all went bad once we came back.
Yeah, 'cause you had lots of people doing lots of online.
Oh, absolutely, all over the world, joining us in. No, well, one from Cumbria joins us twice a week, but
I suppose they're all back.
they're all back. Yeah, that's the thing. They've all had to go back to their normal lives. I mean, the fact is, this is my normal life. But you know, we also did well because we had the visa gig, you know, where we were on TV and all of that kind of stuff. So it made a big difference. To my ego. It didn't, because I'm still a cowardly chicken, because I said no to the voice when they emailed, so I should have learned my lesson and just gone for it. Yeah, the voice emailed me last year and said, well, I'm a coward, Janice. I'm an absolute coward. and I thought, could I sing in front of Tom Jones? No, I would wet myself.
I bet you he would love to sing with you as well.
But
They phoned you, so
well, they no, not at all. I think they do look for a lot of singers on social media.
Mustn't they? They must have scouts.
And he actually said, the guy said, I really like your. I'm using a little bit of runny black to outline his wing. The guy actually said to me, I really like, I like your style and your songs. I particularly like. I did a cover of a Postmodern Jukebox. Now, Postmodern Jukebox is an American band who do modern songs in old style music. So they'll do a Britney Spears in a 1920s style, and I did. It was a 1920s style Oasis song. Don't Look Back in Anger. Have I got it on my? I can play you a bit here. Hang on. I did it like Frank Sinatra.
You should get one. First time I've heard you sing, Barry.
Oh, is it?
I'm really impressed.
It's quite cool. It's a nice slow song, Dan. But do you know what? For the first time that I've ever, I can hear myself sing when I record to put on my socials and stuff. But I was rehearsing because I've got a wedding anniversary that I'm singing at next month at the Cromwell, I think, in their marquee. Yeah. And they've got a specific song that I've not had in my arsenal, and I'm learning it. But what I did is I turned my speaker to face me for the first time in 7 years. I've never done that before. And you know, while I was thinking, because I invested in a new mic, I thought, do you know what, I'm bloody good, really. And then my ego disappeared when I did a wobbly note, and then I now think I'm rubbish. So it's funny. But I'm doing Banbury Food Fair this year. August the 20th. I used to do it every food fair, but it all changed hands. But somebody else is organising it now, and they said, yeah. Oh,
it wasn't very good.
the Dine and Devour.
Yeah.
Half of it wasn't even food, was it?
No, yeah, it was the sort of stuff you get at festivals
Mm.
supplies-wise.
And the thing is, with that company, they just have the same people follow them around. So when they go to Oxford, it'll be the same stalls, and when they go to Stratford, it'll be the same stalls. It's just bulk, yeah.
Tess's Bakes.
Oh yes.
Yeah, she was going to go, but she didn't get in quick enough. And she said she thinks it was a good thing that she did.
Yeah. No. Because the bad market can tarnish everybody that's on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mind you, they're the same people that did the Victorian market, and I've heard that many things about that it wasn't great, and it wasn't very Victorian, and it was nearly all dream catchers and like West Ham,
It wasn't very good.
and we got it again this year. We didn't like. I mean, my main gripe for these kind of fairs, markets, is that it takes trade away from the town centre, because I think it would have cost me about £200 if I wanted a stall for the 3 days. Which, you know, in the grand scheme of things isn't a lot, but I'd either have to close my shop, which defeats the object of having a town centre shop, or getting another member of staff and doubling up on the stock. So it would have cost me about £600 for 3. It's just not worth it. And so the majority of traders aren't local, so it takes trade away, which I'm not happy about.
To the council.
Yeah, well, it's not the council.
No, it's the council that are allowing the.
Well, it's via the BID, the Business Improvement District. So it's they kind of hold everybody over a barrel. bid, but that's another story.
Well, if they take the trade away, then
Well, we don't pay into it now, but we used to have to pay into the bid. Every yeah, it's a legal thing that that they come up with a plan, and then all the businesses within the area. So at the first 5 years, there were 539 businesses within the area. So the whole town centre, down to the bottom of Bridge Street and up to beyond the cross. So and Spice Ball were all in it, and there's no minimum vote. So if 20 businesses voted and 16 of them voted yes, then all 539 businesses have to pay in a percentage of their rateable value. So it's not even if they pay business rates or not. And I was actually on the board for the first year until I could see it was far too corporate and not really in the interests of the town centre. And I left, and then I spent the remaining 4 years trying to get them closed down because I really didn't agree with how it was going. They literally only spend 32% of the money generated on the town. The rest is spent on admin and wages, which is
well, I was just going to say, I bet it's going to line corporate.
the bid. We had a full-time bid manager then. I mean, we had a bid manager every year, a different one, and the full-time ones are on about £64,000 a year, which is a huge amount. My golden tap colour, I'm mixing the yellow and the brown together. That's all right. It's just because it's 5 to 8. I panicked then. Well, I mean, the quicker you do it, the less you'll fiddle. Because the more you'll fiddle, the more you'll ruin it. I'm still using the same one. I haven't switched brushes.
And how have you got all the the darker bits at next to the yellow up
There, you can add a bit more white to your yellow and flick it on top. So you don't need a lot of stuff.
Like the back end.
That,
Yeah.
when I use the black to outline the wing, I just flicked in a little bit. You don't have to do a lot. Right, I'm going to get this colour on because I want to see if it works, and then you can copy it. Or do a better job. The dangly bit, yeah. Yeah. Well, it's grey green, isn't it? So you could do it with black and yellow. That'd work.
So sorry, the tap is
Yellow and brown for the lighter colour, and black and brown for the darker colour. And then while there's bits wet, I'm trying to blend them together because it is just shiny brass, isn't it, from use? I haven't even got an outdoor tap where I live, you know. It's alright, I don't need sympathy. Yellow and black will give you a greeny grey. Add a bit more black and then maybe a bit of white. Little feathery bits on his body. I'm I'm having to learn more modern songs. Well, I say more modern songs, 1960s, because most of mine are from the 50s. Because I'm noticing in the care homes, they're all getting younger.
No.
So, I mean, I started off, you know, a decade ago nearly doing 40s, and then I moved into 50s, and now I'm having to do... It is, I know, but there are some Rat Pack songs I can do from that era. Although when Krista heard me sing, I did a bit of what's her name? Megan Trainor, didn't I? I did some Megan Trainor.
Yeah. Done Victoria Wood.
I did Victoria Wood. Oh, no, the Ballad of Frida and Barry. But I did it very irreverently on the day of the coronation, and I did it the Ballad of Camilla and Charlie. And I was like, one can't do it. One can't do it. I think they'd have enjoyed it, actually, if they'd have heard. Eh? Oh, absolutely. Wasn't it? Is on his chest. I think it was his chest, wasn't it? Now, I started doing this tap thinking it's quite light, but actually I'm having to mix a lot more black and brown on it to get the darks. It's fascinating. The just black and white for the grey. Yeah, black and white. It just looks blue. I think it's the camera that looks blue, to be honest. The camera's making it look blue. The dark on the tap's black and brown.
A bit of white on the tap, a bit of lighter.
Yeah, I mean the highlight is going to be near pure white, I think, or I might add a bit of yellow. You'll get a break in a second while I go and put the kettle on. And that's where you lock the door, isn't it? So I can't get back in. So you can fiddle away. Hey, Krista, have you got aircon where you work?
No.
Oh, really?
Don't.
Oh, really? Oh.
But to be fair, we don't get any sun in our office.
Oh, well, that's
so it
all right,
doesn't
I
really get
suppose.
stiflingly hot. It gets a little bit.
It's a good
muggy.
job then, isn't it?
Yeah, it is really. It gets a little, but then we didn't have any heating in the winter either because that flipping broke. So.
Oh. Well, we invested in our little aircon unit here last year because it got so hot the paint kept drying. And I said, we can't really have it where you come in to pay to an art class and you can't actually paint. We borrowed one before the pandemic. Remember, Jan, we borrowed it and then it worked really well. And then I bit the bullet last year when do you know when it like hit 30 odd degrees for several days, and I thought, do you know what, we're gonna have to do something. See, that's the good thing about acrylics, isn't it, that you can just and I'm an idiot, I know I am. Because what I do is I clean my brush and then I don't tap off the excess on the ferrule. And what's just happened here, I mixed up a lovely colour and it ran down the ferrule and blobbed all over my painting. And now it's gone all sloppy. I posted a hilarious video of a squirrel that's gone viral for faking its own death.
Oh, yeah, brilliant.
Oh, hilarious.
Flying squirrel.
Yeah, it's a flying squirrel in a house and it knocks the broom over and it didn't land where it wanted it to. So it kind of tried to lie to the side of it and it didn't work. So then you forward rolled underneath the broom so it looked like it was on him. Then he pushed it so it was right under his neck, and he lay with his arms out like that.
Brilliant.
You wouldn't think that they'd do that. Hilarious. Mind you, I saw a video of a dog trying to scare his owner by jumping out on him. Yeah, every week apparently it does it, and it hides behind the stairs, and he waits for the owner to come, and he keeps peeking, and then as soon as the owner gets near the top, he jumps out at him. How sweet.
And what's the human reaction?
Yeah, the human knows, so he has to pretend he's scared.
Yeah, play along with it.
It's just like having a child. I imagine they do it all the time, and that's their little...
Yeah, their ritual.
Yeah. I do miss having a dog, but then I don't miss all the things that go with having a dog. Like poo.
Yeah. Either white and brown with black and brown.
And yellow and brown. So yellow and brown is for the brassy bits. It just make, and then black and brown for the darker bits. And it's neat. Oh, it is time for a cup of tea.
Would you say yellow and brown?
Yellow and brown for the lighter brass, yeah, and
More yellow.
yeah, quite a lot of yellow and a bit of brown. You'll be surprised it goes an almost yellow ochre colour.
Mind you, my water's on the brushes blue.
Maybe your bird's leaking. Got a leaky bird. I did have to. I think it's because I've lost both of my parents, and I do have a very dark black sense of humour, and I know, and I tried to hide it, but the first thing I noticed with my brother, and I was quite shocked, and I didn't comment because I didn't know if everybody was really scared and upset and in fear of his life, but my brother has false teeth, and when I saw him on the stretcher on the photo, my shock was, well, I wonder what denture grip he's using, because he's all of that trauma in his teeth stayed in. Or did they find them? And no, they wouldn't have stuck them back in. So I'm just thinking that's really good stuff. So maybe I'll have to ask him what he uses. Because that's a good advert there. I mean, he was thrown up into the air and right on a car, and yet his false teeth stayed in. Yeah, well, exactly. Get on TikTok. I am bad.
Film it, perhaps you can go back and try again.
Yeah. But it is bad because I do have to stop myself. I mean, we've all got quite dark humour in our family, and not always at the most appropriate of times. But it just helps us deal with everything that's gone on.
It does. It helps process.
I think it's quite well, coming from the Black Country. It's very much part of our culture.
Yeah.
When I was a carer, the guy I looked after was in his 30s, and it was to give his mum respite. I was a social carer, and the first day I met them, his mum was explaining, he's got this and he's got that, and he might have a seizure, and this is what to do. And then all of a sudden, the chap I looked after started shaking violently in the chair, and she went, "Oh, look, he's showing you what he looks like when he's having a seizure." He wasn't having one. He just... Oh. So that's funny. Yeah. We used to have a laugh because he was called Neil. So he said, "What's your name?" And he said, "Neil." So I'd get down on my knees and I'd say, "I still don't know what your name is." And he'd say, "Neil." And I'd say, "I am."
How old was
He was in his 30s, but he had severe head injury and he lost from when he was 17. And he'd lost most of his speech and couldn't really walk properly. He could remember anything, any music from the 1980s, but he couldn't remember what he did yesterday.
Was it an accident, you said?
Yeah, he stuck his head out the train window. He was drunk. So, yeah. I mean, they said he'd never walk and talk again, but his mum was so determined. And she, you know, did everything. But I used to drive a tiny little Nissan Micra. And I'd have to put his wheelchair in the back, and then he sat in the passenger side, and I drove. But occasionally, while we were driving, he'd have a spasm and knock my car out of gear. Oh, how we laughed. Well, I'm hurtling along at 60 miles an hour out of gear, and then he's having a spasm, and I'm trying to get his leg out the way so I can change it back into gear again. Right, let's put the kettle on.
Did he laugh with you?
Oh, he was there, yeah. I mean, it's very much. I reckon Lou and Andy out of Little Britain was made because it'd be like we'd be out, and I go, right. Oh my God, are you sure you need the toilet? Do you need to go to the toilet before we go home? Because it's a long way. No, I'm fine. Okay, we get in the car. 10 minutes in, I need the toilet, and I go, well, you can't go. Or I go, right. Well, what would you like? Anything? Well, clearly it's not anything. Clearly it's not anything. I did that for about 2.5 years in my early 20s, late teens, early 20s. It was good money back then. And I had to take him on respite holidays to give his mum a break. He stayed over one night a week at mine. And then a couple of times a year we'd go on special holidays to care centres. So his mum could have an absolute total break. It was an experience. That's why I'm not a carer anymore. Well, it's because I've been doing it a long time.
I'm literally just blocking in colours.
I used to get paid to do everything in 45 minutes, you see, when I was a demonstrator. I could do an A3 landscape 45 minutes, no problem. So I tone it down for you lot. I'm like a whippet with a brush when I'm home. So I'm just playing around with blacks and browns and yellows and whites for this. But actually, as the tap gets further down, it goes a bit more of a... Oh, that's cool. Oh, don't worry. I like that. That's your ringtone. Oh. See, my early morning wake-up alarm is bird song.
Really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't wake up.
It's lovely because it gradually gets louder. I usually pick it up, fling it across the room, like, because I drop it and then it's on, and yeah. Let's try a bit of blue and brown. You've got an hour. Matt. You can do so much in an hour. A man of your calibre. Well, I think sometimes it's about learn the techniques while you're here, innit, and then apply it.
Yeah, because I mean I'm not happy with the wings, I'm not happy with the tail. I need to put a bit more effort into the feathers around the face.
Yeah, I haven't. I to be fair for the bird, I have only just sort of blocked it in. I find if I block it all in first, I feel a lot happier about it, and I feel like I've got a lot further.
Horse. I'm trying to remember which book she told me.
What, up the top?
Yeah.
Do you know I've never been in the garden of the White Horse?
Oh, it's not, well, it's enclosed, it's not a garden.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's alright.
I've only really done the wine vaults, and
Fetching horses is nice as well.
I've only been inside that rather than garden. Which other one have I been in? Oh, Pinto Lounge, because they've got their a gardeny space, haven't they? I'm going to do more skill builders for next year. Like how to hold a pencil. What is a paintbrush? Well, you know, if you're not taught though, if you've never been shown, how do you know? No, it's not ridiculous at all.
Is that just grey and white?
Well, what I've done is I've added blue and brown, but you could do it with black and blue and white.
I don't know what colours I use.
No, I don't
I think it's the same as you.
Ordinary, the bright blue or
The darker blue.
So you put brown on the darker.
Yeah, for the sort of like the older part of the tap, I've made a ultramarine and burnt sienna mix that's more blue actually.
Ultramarine, sienna. That's for the very bottom.
The very bottom.
Oh, not there.
Yeah. It's amazing actually when you really look at the light on that darker part of the tap. It's kind of a bluey blue colour, isn't it?
So ultramarine,
Ultramarine and burnt sienna and white.
oh, and white.
Well, not in all places.
so you've painted all of it and then added some white on.
Yeah, to try and get the shine.
Quite blue.
Yeah, it is. It's much bluer than you think. I didn't think it was blue.
You've got the darker blue at the back there.
What here?
Yeah.
Just more. I don't think there's any white in that bit. That was blue and brown.
Do the whole tap dark first and then
Yeah, and then I'm adding lighter bits on. The rustier stuff I didn't. The shinier stuff rather. But you can play around with building the colours up. Are you happier this evening, Sarah, than with gouache yesterday? Sarah and gouache didn't make friends instantly.
I'll have to try again.
Yeah, that's it.
I didn't like gouache because every time you painted over it, you just kept wetting it down.
That was, I mean, what we were trying to do yesterday was a sunset on black paper.
Ah, right. Yeah.
So every time we did the sky, and in this weather, it wasn't great. There's so much more in the way of highlights on this tap than you think.
Yeah.
even if you just concentrate on your tit. And suggest the tap. That could look really arty, you know. It look like you're a real connoisseur of the arts.
Almost intentional.
Almost intentional. Absolutely. Because we all know it's about being arty-farty. And talking out your bottom. And believe it or not, that's probably why I've never made it as far, because I'm not actually that good at that kind of thing. I talk a lot. Oh, I don't know, is that right? Matt, what are you drinking?
I'll have tea, please.
Tea, please, Bob. Jan? I've only got no. It's no tea. Krista,
I'll have tea as well.
tea.
Thank you.
Black tea.
Do you have an herbal tea today?
I have turmeric. I've got turmeric tea. Peppermint tea. Yeah, so three mint teas. Yeah.
A tea, please.
Tea. So everybody's tea and the peppermint tea. Oh, Krista. That's good.
It's still kind of a bit pear-shaped down the bottom.
Well, do you know what? It is really blue. I've gone with ultramarine, but I think you're right. There is cerulean in there because that is
I couldn't
reflecting.
pick the
It's
bottom
reflecting the
what
sky.
colours you said, so I've been making it up as going along.
That's really good. That's the best way of learning. But that does reflect the colour of the sky.
Cool.
So you're doing well. The skill is remembering how you got there,
Oh, I
in
know.
case you have to do it again.
Oh, I know, we may have a problem. Because literally, I couldn't tell you now. And I only did it 2 minutes ago.
Well, at least you're here.
Let's keep trying to get a point on my brain.
to add a bit more brown on that tap. A bit too grey.
I never put that on the tea.
There's a lot of colours, isn't there?
Yes, yeah, and then,
The tap is easier in pencil.
yeah.
Because it's just grey, isn't it? But
Yeah.
when you've got this, but yeah, looking at it now, my tap's a bit too. Actually, not just getting there for
What's that?
chocolate nugget.
One of them.
Okay. The biscuit, yeah. Biscuit for you. Excellent choice, madam. It's good vintage. And don't forget to use your finger to move some colour around. So if you need to,
I was just going to say, I haven't got mine so rigid that rhymes.
Mm.
Be on the back.
Literally.
It's all dried now, I can't do it now. I just wet my finger a bit and do it like that.
yeah. Because it just helps blend and move colour around. I'm going to copy Krista for a second and use a bit of the other blue. Use a bit of cerulean and white. Christy, you're a trendsetter now.
Spend hours doing this, couldn't you?
Oh, absolutely. With the gouache animal paintings I do spend hours. Like the dog I did, it was a 9-hour dog.
Where did they receive it?
I've just I've had to post it off. It's going collected tomorrow,
Alright.
so it'll reach Nottinghamshire next day. I think I'm using a courier.
Have they seen images of it?
Yeah, he said, "Oh, have you got any photos?" And he got a bit teary because it was so bad.
The orangutans are just inside my door.
Aww.
And they're in the hall.
You know, both of them have had babies now.
Are they?
Mhm. So when you took your watercolour home, were you still pleased with it, Matt?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Good.
I probably made the sand a bit yellow.
But I suppose, yeah, but you know, with some sunsets, you do get more of a yellow glow, don't you? You get that golden hour, they call it, don't they?
Yeah. No, as I say, I'm still really pleased with it. The techniques are coming. That's
Yeah.
the main thing, isn't it? The
Well, it
technique.
is. That's what it's all about, isn't it?
It's such a hard medium to paint.
Oh, flipping is. Watercolours is horrible. I never used to do watercolour classes, you know.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, since I've been down here, down south, I do. But I mainly only taught drawing and acrylics, because the place where I taught at, they'd already got 3 watercolour teachers. So it wasn't until I moved down here that I decided that I ought to teach I mean, I could use watercolour, I just didn't teach it. Because it is so difficult. More and more people want to learn how to do it. And it's interesting because, you know, regarding watercolour, back in the late 90s, early noughties, people used to think watercolour was easy because you'd got several watercolour programmes. You'd got Watercolour Challenge and Alvin Crawshaw, Frank Clark, all on mainstream TV doing watercolours. You'd got like so many books and DVD, well, videos as it was then, out. So people presume because there was so much information on it, it must be really easy, and they went to do it, not realising that there's so much information on it because it's flipping hard.
Yeah.
But then, if you have only ever known watercolours, acrylics is really hard.
The watercolours used to be a pastime in sort of early 1900s, didn't
Yeah.
it?
It was
There was very little else to do like we have today, so
yeah. Ladies, posh ladies would do carpentry or flower arranging or watercolour painting.
yeah. My first girlfriend, her granddad was a phenomenal watercolour artist.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. And from some tiling instruments. So absolutely fantastic. And of course he would have been in that sort of era of
Yeah.
early 1900s of portrait art.
Put a bit of Ronnie Gray on his head.
So the top is blue.
This bit, blue, ultramarine and burnt sienna. So your blue and your brown, but I've added more brown. Now what I might have to do is do a glaze. Have we done much in the way of glazing before? No. A glaze is a very runny wash of paint, and I'll show you what I mean. If I make the white up so it runs like milk, look at that. I can glaze the bottom of the picture in white and move it around with either my finger or a cloth, so it kind of tints the colour and lightens the background so the tap can show up, and as it dries you can sort of dust it into place, but it's got to be really runny. White and water.
How far have you gone with that?
I've not decided yet. I think I'm just going to add more water with it. Story of my life.
Is that kind of a medium flat one?
Yeah. I mean, you could go with your big one. or if you use your brush and you sort of dance it around a bit, it works quite well because you can kind of lift it out a little if it doesn't work while it's dry, while it's wet. You can wiggle your brush around and create a textured background to it.
And the other parts of the top are grey or blue.
Blue, yeah, a bit of cerulean and white. I'm off teaching at the museum on Sunday. No, not tomorrow. Thursday evening. Yeah, in conjunction with their their sculpture exhibition at the moment. Yeah, they've got like Barbara Hepworth's and Henry Moore and who's the big one? Anthony Gormley. Really big names. It's all about revealing the human form. So I'm doing a class on figure proportions. And then they get 2 hours to run amok in the museum. Hoping that things will come to life, maybe. I like those films. Not Night at the Museum, yeah. They are fun.
It was going all right until I tried to do that.
Oh, add loads of water. Use your big brush, Krista.
I added loads of because I actually
Bucket.
it's already on.
Yeah, because you need to do it while it's dry, while it's wet. Glazing is tricky.
So the dark bits of the tap, what did you do with them?
That was the burnt sienna and the ultramarine.
Oh, okay.
Oh, today's TikTok's a slow burner. You've got to have, to monetize TikTok, you've got to have so many followers. You have to have 10,000 followers and 100,000 views in a month.
In a month.
In a month.
Every month or
No,
after
just for
the
1 month to set you off, and then you get 1 cent for every 400 views.
It's nothing. I mean, you
No,
need to have
well,
a lot.
I mean, for some of these influencers, they get 1 million views.
Yeah, they do that.
I don't think me showing somebody how to draw a boat in pencil is the kind of vibe. What if I did it naked? No, it's a children's app. It wouldn't work.
No, yeah.
I'd be getting a visit.
No, they just block the account.
Yeah. Back to the drawing board. We're getting there with YouTube. We've only got 980 hours left. We're whistling through it.
Is that in a year?
Yeah, you've got to have 4,000 views in a year in YouTube. But I'm presuming the year starts from January.
I was going to say, once you've got your monetisation, they take it away. But
No, I don't think so. I think because people are still going to be watching it. I mean, that Paint Like Money one I did a long time ago still gets 100 views a day. So even if I got £1 a day, that'd be all right, wouldn't it? Just off one video. Oh, actually, is it lovely?
I wouldn't say it's lovely. It's very dark.
Wow. But is it well done?
Yeah, incredibly well done.
Have you got a photo of it now?
No, she didn't leave it out long enough for me to take a photo. She actually walked up to me, bit it going.
Oh, lovely.
Ever done that. So she was obviously very pleased.
I think from one of our suppliers we can get all coloured inks that are bleachable, and there's something called, which I think we've sold out of at the moment. What's it called? Well, it's a powder in colours, Brusho, and you mix it with water and they're all bleachable.
Oh right, no, I'm not aware of that. She did exactly the same thing as I did years ago, because I tried that technique years and years ago. But I used Indian.
Yeah.
Indian technique.
No. Quink ink does.
Yeah.
And I think we've got big bottles of black ink that's bleachable.
Have you?
From the supplier that I was just saying about. It's all about experience, isn't it? It's about the environment. It's about the whole experience. Thanks, Jam. Thanks. Next week in Pencil is Birch Trees and Toadstools. Oh. Are you here for the acrylic one or are you away? Neither. So when you back?
30th of June.
Ah, so you'll be here for the July one.
Yes, yeah, I was going to have a look, yeah, see, yeah.
Oh, an old doorway on the 4th of July of Chastleton House. Oh, and then, so that's for drawing acrylics, and then we've got a weeping willow drawing in acrylics, a boat on the beach, a building at Stowe, sunflowers, and a lovely church. It's a gorgeous church in Herefordshire. It's very Italian. I did it in a Monday class on a Monday morning, but there's a better view of it that I've seen since, so we'll do the better view. Right, so I'm going to do the wooden post next, and I'm going to do that really quickly. Well, yeah, I mean it's a good colour for the wooden post actually. So if I use a bit of brown, black, and a little bit of the cerulean blue. Do you need another plate, Krista?
Yeah, maybe.
That could be the answer to all of the problems.
I don't know about that, but it, everything else.
worked in a wine shop, do you get free samples?
No. We used to, years ago, yeah, we used to get quite a lot of free stuff. But now, no.
We get nothing free either.
Absolutely nothing.
I might add a little bit of white to this.
So what am I doing? So what am I doing?
Blue, brown, maybe a bit of black and white, just because I want a cerulean. This is your darker tone.
Cerulean blue, brown.
Brown and black and white. I can't work out what's leaf and what's not. So I'm not going to worry. I'm just going to shove it on. I know the big leaves. I can tell those. I'm blue da da ba dee da 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 ba dee da. I used to love that song. Never knew how to dance to it though. I'm just painting it down the left side. I think it's a. Well, the vines I'm ignoring. The leaf shapes that I can tell, I'm missing out a little bit. But because there is opaque, we can just go over it. Yeah.
Excuse me, can I have a little bit more black?
Well, yes, because you ask so nicely.
So it's a sort of browny black sort of.
Yeah. Where do you want me to stick?
Well, wherever you can find a space.
Has got any new one?
Yeah, go on. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I still got my new one. Thank you. So that's all down this side, isn't it?
Yeah. Now, I think I want to add yellow and brown and white to it. Oh, that's gone green. Oh, do you know what? That's all right. And I'm going to kind of like drag it with hardly touching the surface. So it,
This is on top of it now. And
yeah, so I've added
white.
and yellow.
So you do the dark and then highlight.
Yeah, and it can be wet when you do this.
I'm still doing
I was going to break out the knives, but I think the way the tempers are rising today, I think a knife is not advisable. No, I had a Christmas song the other day because I was uploading all my songs onto iTunes, all my backing tracks, because of the issues I had at the wedding. And I had to put my Christmas songs on. I want to learn Dominic the Donkey this year. Like jiggity jig, it's Dominic the Donkey. Jiggity jig, the Italian Christmas donkey. La la la, la 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 la. It's a good one. It's from the 70s, I think, or 80s.
Are you keeping the same colour? Just going
A bit more white.
just a bit more white.
Yeah. Just to do a few little lines on there. I've already forgotten what next week's is. What did I say it was? Or did I not?
Trees and toasted.
Oh yeah, that'll be nice and easy for you.
Cute.
And we'll definitely use a knife for the acrylic version. Obviously we can't for the drawing.
What's the one we always used to learn about? Was it the bear that's like an iceberg?
Oh, there was an iceberg.
God.
And we did an iceberg in acrylics. Oh god, everybody hated that. And then we did a polar bear and everybody hated that. Because the polar bear was on an iceberg. We had a lot of issues. There are certain classes. In drawing, we did one when we were in White Line Walk, and we did cloisters in pencil. No, in watercolour. We did a view of cloisters. And that class is one of the very few classes in my entire career where I nearly went home.
Oh
I nearly just walked away because they were all being annoying.
Yes.
Only 2 out of the class actually enjoyed the lesson, and the rest let me know every 30 seconds that they didn't.
But it was always the polar bear really, or the iceberg, wasn't it?
It was in the Tuesday afternoon acrylic class. Oh, it's not an iceberg, is it? No, no. Never will there be another iceberg unless you're naughty.
And then of course, because we knew that it wound him up, we were always on that bloody iceberg.
Yes. I'm going to let that dry for a little minute.
So what colours have you used for the wood, sorry?
For the wood,
Yeah.
brown, cerulean blue, a little bit of black and white. So a lot of colours in there.
So you've just mixed them up roughly?
Yeah, yeah.
Big brush?
Middle-sized brush, but the big brush will do it quicker if you're not worried about your leaves. And then skimmed it over the top by adding more white and yellow to it.
Okay. So black, cerulean blue,
Brown
and white.
and tiny bit of white. And then we can do some leaves in a minute, which are just lemon yellow and ultramarine. Find the viney bits.
You know the copper bit, the nice lighter bit, like the mid colours. How did you, that was the
Yellow and brown, with maybe a bit of white, depends if you how much light you want on there. But what's great about this is you can keep coming back to it. Do any of you have any dedicated space at home?
Yes.
Do you?
I have, but I can't get into it. It's got
Too much stuff. Sounds like my spare room, actually.
What they need to do is get my kids to bloody move out again. They went to. Well, they come back, did they?
What age are your kids, Krista?
22 and 23.
Yeah, it's time you had an art room.
I know. Can't get rid.
My sister left and came back.
Well, my oldest one is hoping to go live in Japan next year sometime because she wants to go teach. So I have mixed feelings about that. And my other
It's
one-
your youngest one that comes in more often, isn't
Yeah,
it?
the dark-haired one. Yeah. She's a little madam at the minute. Absolutely.
Oh,
Well, I have a wayward daughter.
wayward.
She's been with her. She was with her previous boyfriend for the last 4 years. So obviously they got together when they were very, very young. They split up in November, and now she's making up for lost time in a big way.
Well, as long as she's happy and safe.
Well, she is. But
I went off the rails at 26.
yeah.
Not as much as that though, because I've always been boring. I went off the rails as as much as a boring person could.
Oh no, she's a little madam.
So what did you use for
The wood,
wood, yes?
the light blue, brown, black and white, and roughly mix it together so you get a sort of marble.
Can I do it with a big brush?
Yeah, just shove it on.
Mine's looking like blue. If you wait till it's blue.
It's Wednesday tomorrow. I keep thinking it's Wednesday today, you know. Because I talk to my house, you know. And I always tell it when I'm going to be back. And I felt really bad because I said, oh, I'll be back at normal time tonight. I'll be back at 6 tonight. And then, I know, as I was driving in, I thought, oh God, it's not Wednesday, it's Tuesday. And I told the house that I'll be early. And then I'm not going to be. It'll be in the right mood with me when I get back.
All slamming.
Yeah.
So you didn't put any yellow in it?
I did for the top layer.
Okay.
So the bottom layer is dark. I'm just playing with this leaf colour to see if I can get it right. It's a bit bluer than that, but if I do it too blue... There are a lot of leaves. I'm doing it with the yellow and the darker blue.
The duller blue.
Yeah, the ultramarine.
Yeah.
And there's some vines here that I haven't put on.
You're doing the vines. What colour?
Lemon yellow and ultramarine. The thing to remember is that obviously this picture is a lot bigger than real life. So the ivy, although the leaves, my ivy at home, the leaves are huge. I've tried several times to make washing up liquid out of ivy leaves and I've failed. And I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Yeah, it has saponin in the leaves, and when you boil it up, it creates bubbles. You can make washing detergent out of them as well. And somebody said online once, "Oh, well, that's really toxic. You can't eat ivy." And they said, "Well, you can't eat washing up liquid." You know what I mean? Well, hopefully you shouldn't be trying to eat washing up. Don't eat washing up liquid, children. Viewers.
Remember when they were eating the pods?
Oh gosh, that was a TikTok trend that went wrong.
Sometime was it during the pandemic?
Yeah,
Eating what?
they're washing up pods.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was a TikTok trend.
But so many ended up in hospital.
Yeah, there are several viral TikTok trends that shouldn't really be allowed. I mean, there was a sort of safe one where you had to try and eat a teaspoon full of cinnamon.
Oh, that's not safe either.
No.
But I mean, you could choke on that
Yeah, exactly.
because it's so dry.
Get rid of them. Perhaps, you know,
Well, it is natural selection in a way, like the Darwin Awards.
So maybe it isn't as bad as it looks.
But yeah, crazy things, and the kids are just loving it. But never mind.
So you then washed over with yellow, did you? Or?
Yellow, what the highlight
Yeah.
on the wood? Yellow. I added yellow and white to the wood colour, so it went a sort of biscuity colour, I guess.
And that was rough mixing, was it?
Eh?
That was rough mixing, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Well, what's that? Oh, that's another leaf. I just thought, what's that wiggly line that I've got drawn? And yet, it's another leaf.
For the wood highlight, did you add water?
What for the highlight on the wood?
Yeah.
I added white and yellow to it.
Yeah, but then also water or
No, dry, because you want to drag it over and it goes all funny. You want it to mottle and marble.
I see. So I thought, blimey, Barry, you've done this before.
No, all intentional. Possibly. So that's where we'd use the knife. But I'll save the knife for 2 weeks' time. The
can I have some more yellow, please?
you can indeed. This acrylic class on the Tuesday night is always slightly longer than 9 o'clock.
My tree doesn't look tree.
Well, we could do some darker lines inside with some runny black to give it a bit of texture.
Wait, is the color that I don't like? What's the purple to
I've got the same issue, but I think doing the glazing will calm it down.
Yeah.
So
And then I'm gonna glaze some of the leaves and do a few other bits because we've got so much time.
Haven't put any veins in.
No, I haven't yet. I ought to though. Maybe because they're paler, aren't they? The veins.
I don't know why you use glazing because I haven't used it. I missed that bit.
That's all right. I'm going to do some black glazing under the vines and the leaves a little bit just to give it a bit of shadow, I think. But let me do some.
I put the vines in, so that's the problem. I don't know what to do about that now. Got lines
You-
there.
You've got lines where?
The vines.
That's all right, cause just fill it in with the green.
Oh, just do it all.
Give it all green, and then you can like do some runny black on it,
Yeah.
or runny yellow if you want to lighten it.
Oh, this is sort of really a bit thinner than at the edge of the wood, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all the things that hold the leaves on, I guess, isn't it? Is it? I wish I would get the chance to do more fiddly stuff when I've finished, but I know I won't get time. Because tomorrow I'll be getting ready for tomorrow's class. And actually Thursday evening's class at the museum. I've got to source everything because we're providing the materials for it. It's only 12 spaces, but need to do a good job. Well, yeah, exactly. One of them is Hannah from a Sunday class. She's coming to it.
oh, that's right. Yeah. I remember her saying that. Yeah.
Which blue did you use for the leaves?
The ultramarine, so the slightly darker.
Mixed with the yellow, yeah.
But it can go a bit crazy. If it goes too blue, it can sometimes look a bit emerald. Or too yellow can look a bit weird as well. I'm going to have to dull down that leaf. I
So
think.
you've got some turn of it, some lighter.
Yeah, add a bit more yellow and maybe a bit of white.
There's blues and whites on it as well, isn't there, really?
Yeah, there's all sorts. And it depends on the type of ivy, but I think this is a traditional English ivy, they would call this. It's not variegated. I know it sounds like I know what I'm talking about, but it's just what I've got in my garden. I won a free home study herbs for health course because I do quite a bit of home study courses, and the one I bought for my bookkeeping that I'm learning in my spare time was the last one, and it was like, you have won a short course, and here's the list. And of all the ones that were there, I thought, oh, the herbal one would be really good for me because it's nice and witchy. me herbs. I've stung all my hands trying to get nettle seeds, so I've ordered a bag of them from eBay. Because they're super good for you.
Nettle soup, yeah.
Nettle seeds, they're amazing. I make nettle tea a lot, but the seeds themselves are really, really good for tea and all sorts of things. A spoonful a teaspoon a day is the recommended amount, because it can have other naughty effects if you take too much, apparently.
What naughty effect?
Like drugs.
Or what, hallucinogenics or?
Kind of. Well, yeah, or you get a natural high if you take too many nettle seeds. I've only ordered a small bag, so I won't be able to find out.
Literally just blocking the tin now.
No, blocking in is good. Well, I've done those veins in that flipping leaf dark, and they should be light.
Oh yeah, how did you do the background?
What, initially?
Well, no, I mean, are we painting on there grey or not? This side.
No. Well, you could do, but what I did to it is I did that white glaze on the bottom to bring the tap forward.
Oh, you did white lace?
I did a runny white just down that end, and then added more water up there. I did that.
I know,
Was it before coffee? That's all right.
Yeah.
so white glaze, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I was keeping that. I've lost one white.
Do you want another palette, Jan?
It might help actually, because you.
I have thought about just clean filming the tabletops and telling you to go for it.
I haven't left anything over for ages.
You haven't, have you? No. With Janice, we used to have to issue Pacamax to whoever sat next to her.
Oh dear.
It only happened the once.
Yeah, it was over there.
Oh, do you know? A great Borton art group before we moved to Waddington. One of the newer students, it was an acrylic class, tried to squeeze out a tube of white acrylic, and the end shot off, and it spattered over 4 students, glasses and everything. Thankfully, everybody found it hilarious.
Well, you know, when we came to your Christmas prosecco when we did the Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Wow, we all went out for our Indian, like the 3 of us.
Yeah.
We picked up our bags. Oh, they were completely pebble dashed on my bag. All 3 of them.
So my laptop screen is covered in acrylic paint. Covered.
Yeah.
I will have to clean it off, because sometimes I was looking at I was trying to research something, and I swore blind Google had changed the searches, and I said to Jackie, what the hell is this word? I tried Googling it and it made no sense, and she said, I don't know what you're on about. What on earth are you and I said, look at my screen. This word, I don't know what it is. What am I supposed to be? Do I click on it? And she told, I can't remember what word it was, but she said the real word, and I said no, That's what it says. And then when I looked, I'd got a white speck of paint right on that word, and it made it look like an I rather than an L.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then I scratched it off, and I went, oh, I can see it now. Felt a bit of a fool, but at least it was Jackie and not like the Queen or anything.
What do you put in it?
Well, I think I'm just gonna have to like scrape it with my fingernails.
Came off the bag just by going like
Oh, did it? Yeah, that's what I think I'll have to do to the laptop screen.
Because this doesn't, once it's dry, water does nothing to it, right?
No,
yeah.
or terps or anything, nothing works. But I'll have to just when the laptop's off, I'll just run my fingernail over it. But I can't press too hard because I don't want to damage the screen.
Yeah, 'cause you get that a lot, don't you?
If it's off, probably it's better. You don't know it more when it's on.
Yeah, I to be honest, I'm just used to roughly where the spatters are now.
Well, then you remove them, and you're going to find yourself working faster, and you don't have to compensate for the sputters.
Oh, maybe.
So you're going to be hyper-productive for
Gosh, Jackie hates them. She thinks I've got too much energy as it is. I'll move on to. Oh, look, what should we do now? What have you done this yet? Have we finished this yet?
That's good.
She said I've got too many tabs open in my brain.
That's good.
Your brain. Yeah.
But nettle seeds are supposed to help. A lot of my students have already diagnosed me with ADHD, and they say, because you're too random all the time, and I am. But apparently nettle seeds are supposed to be really good at regulating moods and energy levels and all that kind of stuff. I've done some runny black glazes under the leaves, look. Can you see how it makes them stand out? It's just like a photograph now. Oh, it's 9:10. You can put a bit of brown bits on your vine stuff as well. Does my bird look too yellow compared to the photo? He is a bit, isn't he? Here.
I think it's more of a cadmium yellow, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe I'll mix. Oh, my yellow's all gone green. Little bit of brown in there, tiny bit of brown.
This is definitely doing too much stuff on me.
Are you enjoying it though, Matt?
Sure, I wasn't actually looking forward to doing this. 'Cause,
Really?
yeah.
Why?
But I thought, well, just. I mean, drawing the bird fine, but painting it, I was just thinking, yeah, I'm not sure. But. Yeah. Changed my mind. I can
Good.
see the potential in it.
I think there is. I think where the potential is I'm not sort of a hyper realist or anything like that. I don't find that exciting as such, but this does give you a good chance to try out and play with shadow and all that sort of thing. See, on the screen it looks quite good. I prefer it to my drawn version, but I think that's because the colour of the bird looks more like a blue tick, whereas in grey it's hard to get the blue tick colour, isn't it? But you know, if it's blue, white, green and yellow, you know, it's either that or a very stunted woodpecker. I like my tap. Oh, I know, to match my drawing,
Did you put any colour on that background or not?
only the white.
You guys?
Yeah, the glaze of the white. I haven't put anything else on. I had to add a little bit of a black glaze because my white glaze just carried on going higher and higher and higher, and I needed to stop it. I've cheated and done a glaze of a dripping tap with some runny white, but that's just showing off.
Oh, you put a drip on.
Yeah, safe side in it. And now it's a drip that's painted it. Well, do you know what? I'm pleased with this. I'll see if I can find the photo for next week, or for the next two. Dee. Where is it going, Julie?
We're going to Torquay, only because that was the only house that was available.
It's not Faulty Towers, is it?
Oh no, is that where Faulty Towers was?
Yes.
It's got, I think it keeps 10, so really are.
Oh, I've not got the photo. It's unusual. Yes, because I remember, you know, on that one where he's got the deaf lady, she's hard of hearing, and she complains about the view from her window, and he said, "What do you expect to see out of a Torquay window? Herds of sweeping wildebeests?"
Oh, you know Blackadder?
Yeah.
They've got the pilot that's never been shown, and that's good. They're going to put that on.
Oh,
And there's
amazing. I
totally
love
different
Blackadder.
from how it worked out, you know.
Love Blackadder. I'm not going to do any more, I don't think. Does anybody want to see what theirs looks like on the magic camera?
Yeah, go on. My great tradition.
I'm going to move my palette. Have you enjoyed it, Janice?
Yeah, it's I've got to get back to doing something
Yeah.
rather than dossing around, mucking about. My usual.
That's like that.
It's
Can
alright.
I peel him off?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because the board's bigger than my little spot.
Yeah, there's absolutely no detail in it really, but
Well, I haven't got any detail on mine actually. It looks
well,
like I have.
you've got an awful lot on there by comparison to myself.
But you're nice and methodical. There's a black country phrase, and my mum used to use it on me all the time, and it's going at it like a pig at a tater. So if you imagine a pig when it's fed a potato, whoa, that's how I used to do everything. Oh, Baz, stop going at it like a pig at a tater. Take your time. So I do everything like a pig at a tater. That's not. I did like that. That's gonna look lovely. So this is phase 1.
Yeah.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Well, that's really good. That's nice.
Do you know what I really love on that? the background is been so beautifully painted. I love that on all of yours.
That's the best part.
That's nice, that Matt.
It's coming.
Are you pleased with how it looks so far?
Yeah, I mean, there's an awful lot I'm going to correct, but like the yellow's way too lemon. So.
You could add some cad yellow into it, absolutely. Ooh.
All the phones are going off now.
But yeah, I'm pleased with it. Thank you.
You know what? I like that.
That's went all wrong.
Is that your second
I'm
acrylic?
in exchange. I don't really want
I probably when you come the second ones when I've a
So
bit up to you.
exchange it is.
So if it is probably the second proper one.
I'll see you on there.
Yeah.
That is.
Better from over there than it did from over there.
That's really nice.
That white glaze just went completely apart.
But what you could do with more time is put another coloured glaze back on top.
Yeah. And then have another go, yeah.
That's lovely.
I'm
It
so
is
slow
the,
by comparison.
White horses last
I could
orders,
take
so
it with
yeah.
Gary's, yeah.
They
I just want to finish because I know I won't have time to do any when I get home.
Yeah, I'm afraid, isn't it?
You know, but your results will be all worth it, I'm sure.
You know the nice elegant birds? Well, mine looks like he's
Through the hula.
That's lovely. Oh, do you know what's just missing? You can do before you go. A little white dot in his eye.
Oh,
Yes,
yes.
it is.
Yeah.
I thought about that.
That's lovely. That's a good towel. Are you pleased with that?
It looks better up there.
I am going to want to do
Yeah,
that.
no, I thought it was
good.
awful.
The other one.
Yeah.
No,
very
it's
good.
actually really good.
I can't remember.
You know what, though? I've got my
I
pen now.
literally
I'll do it with my pen.
Gel pen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I've got that, yeah.
It's really. You should be
I think I'm going to do it all watery and quick and it'll go
Yeah, no, we don't want to. We don't want to do that. Ta-da!
It isn't finished though.
It's not finished, but that's beautiful. Because is this your second acrylic?
Oh, that's
That's
nice.
brilliant.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
That's gorgeous.
That is
It's,
actually really good.
Are you pleased with that?
Yeah, I need to finish it.
Yeah.
The vine and at the end
Yeah.
I got the color of the wood,
Yeah.
sort of.
Yeah.
But I need the vines and the glaze
Yeah.
bottom.
And then if you do a bit of black glazes,
Yeah.
that makes a difference. It just adds the solidity, which is lovely. Yes, that's lovely.
Well, it's not finished. Like,
What do you mean? What you were saying most of the time? So it's way behind.
No, that's all right. You know what? That's looking great.
Doesn't he look a scrub?
He's just having a bit of a. Do you know what? I bet he's had a bit of a drink and too much water came out from under the tap and it soaked him and he's having a bit of a shake.
No, he was sucked up in the hula.
Who's here next Tuesday then? Because we've got Skyver over here on
Yeah.
holiday. You're here. You're here. So it's a drawing next week.
Oh, I must put that.
I'll pay for that.
Eh?
I'll pay for that.
Okay.
He's a bottle cop, this one.
I wonder if I can get my thing. So I think we've got Amanda until the 27th.
Haven't we? No. Shall I come down, Barry?
You can do, yeah.
It's alright, it's just my this there. That's
Oh,
all.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Alright.
cheerio everybody.
Yeah.
Bye.
Have a good holiday.
What is that?
He doesn't look so bad.
Yeah. you. Oh, I haven't said goodbye on the camera. Bye bye, everybody. I forgot that bit. I've only been doing this for 3 years. I'm new. Bye, everybody. Have a good time. See you next week.